And I'm Lacey. Today we celebrate Veterans Day.
Veterans Day is an official U.S. holiday that honors those who have served in the U.S. Armed Forces. It is always observed on the 11th day of the 11th month because that was the official end of World War I.
We interviewed Howard Olson and Doug Watts of the American Legion Post 103. Now let's cut to Kendall and Lacey.
Kendall and Lacey?
What part of the military are you from and why did you choose that?
I served in the Navy Air Corps.
Nice. Why did you choose that?
I was a gunner, an aerial gunner on a Navy patrol bomber, a seaplane.
Oh, wow.
Well, I was in the Army, and the choice that I made, actually, I was in college, and I knew I was going to be drafted because the Korean War had started. And I was in college, so I joined the Army Reserves to help so I could stay in school. And then after I graduated from college, instead of waiting for the draft, which was right down my neck, I just applied for active duty as a reservist. And because of that, I went in as a big corporal instead of going in as a buck private.
What was the hardest experience you went through?
I'd just gone to sleep in the bunk, and an explosion, a very large explosion came on. And since our location was north of the 38th parallel, and actually up in what now would be North Korea, I thought things had gone haywire again. And it turned out, of course, unfortunately, it was a Republic of Korea soldier who had stepped on a landmine in our area, and of course blown himself up.
Landing on the ocean, on the open sea, it was quite dangerous. You didn't know if you were going to drop a float into the water and do a somersault, cartwheel. That was pretty scary.
Yeah. Can you recall any particularly humorous events that happened during your time of service?
Well, the funniest thing was that I can think of was when we were on a carrier in the Korean War, and the the cooks were going to make some omelets that day, and they had some cold storage eggs. Well, we had a bomb elevator that took our bombs up to the hangar deck, and then they took them over to the flight deck. We told the cooks that we can send the thing, your trash up in the elevators. So this morning they were making eggs, and they were all cold storage eggs, and they were rotten. Half of them were rotten. So they put these cases on our elevator, and just as they went up about 2/3 of the way up, the fleet made a movement, and they all went off to one side, and the elevator comes up, and it crushes all of them. And that were rotten eggs. So the rest, we were just fresh out, and we had to spend about 20 days, 3 weeks, with that smell coming out every time. Then when we get back to port, we had to scrape it all off and then repaint it. But that was funny.
I was on the typewriter, not facing the door. The door came open, and I saw 4 stars. Now, 4 stars means the very top, general. And it turned out to be General Maxwell Taylor, who later became the Army Chief of Staff, and he was then commanding general of all the Far Eastern forces. And I almost knocked the typewriter on the floor, getting up out of my chair to salute him. And the 6 guys that I had working for me, they all did the same thing, and I thought I was just afraid that one of the typewriters was going to hit the floor for sure. But that was a humorous thing afterwards.
What was it like to come back home after your service time was over?
Well, I didn't come right home after the service. When I came home, all the festivities were all gone by that time. And then the Korean War, I came home, and the secretary says, "You've been on vacation?" That was my greeting. Just kind of like the Vietnam guys, that they didn't get any big welcomes home.
Wow. What is the best way for us to show appreciation to veterans?
What is the best way to show appreciation for the veteran? Well, just what you're doing now is trying to find out what they're all about, and trying to get some information out of them to maybe form an opinion on things that you didn't know about before.
I'll say the same thing he said. What you're doing right now, the idea that people care about what veterans have done, and it just makes you feel good when somebody says thank you for what you did. And because there's an awful lot of them, he all knows, that never came back. And you know, we came back, and glad to do it.
Thanks, Kendall and Lacey.
And thanks to all of our veterans.
Happy Veterans Day! I'm Kendall.
And I'm Lacey.
And we're signing off.